So today what we're going to do is we're going to start almost like a new section. Up to this point, we've been focusing on pronunciation. We should be far enough along that we're starting to read. We focused on the names of the alphabet, the letters, the consonants. We focused on the names of the vowels. We've talked a little bit of grammar. We learned the inseparable prepositions. We learned the definite article. We learned about construct. We learned a number of things already that we're going to build on. Now we're going to focus on nouns. Now things start to begin to expand. What you want to really focus on is vocabulary. You need to spend the time to get the vocabulary down because more and more papers are coming out with vocabulary words, and you're going to be like going all over the place. So you want to start getting some of these down so you don't have to do that. And that's why I suggested 3x5 cards. And on one side you got the word, the other side the translation, and when you have a few moments, you just start rattling them off. Now no longer is it the alphabet with the sounds or the vowels with the sounds. Now it's words, right? So let me start us off by handing out this handout. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I hope I made enough. I thought I did. Let's take that, if we could, Carlton, let's slide that table all the way up so that these folks are not so far away. Okay? So we've got 1. Six. Uh-oh.
You can share. They can share.
4. Oh, look at this. I'm probably okay. Is there another person here or just the two? What's that?
Wendy and Wendy.
Oh, Wendy's over there.
Over there. That's okay.
Okay. All right. So this is the first. Here's the second. These belong to somebody. They're extra? Okay.
There's only 4 of us here right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, one more. Oh, we have another one?
Oh, there's 3 pages to this one. Yeah, we're now flying. We're now getting ready to enjoy the sights. I think there's 4 there. Okay? So the first thing we're starting to do now is to look at nouns and the conjunction. And then I have some exercises that we'll work on together. All right, everyone has their sheet? All right, now look at the front. It says we're going to be talking about the noun. The noun in Hebrew has only 2 genders, masculine and feminine. Now, you remember when I'd say, how do you parse this verb? Third person, masculine, singular, or whatever. Third person, feminine. There's no neuter. So there are no its in Hebrew. If it's a door and you translate it into English, you say it. But in Hebrew, it's going to take a feminine or a masculine form depending on the depending on the gender that the word takes. Everybody good?
Whether it's masculine or
right. So now, once we start learning this, now we have to remember adjectives that we haven't learned adjectives yet, but adjectives that will modify the noun must match gender, number, definiteness. Those are the 3 things. If it has a definite article, the adjective will. If it's masculine, the adjective will be masculine. If it's singular or plural, the adjective will be singular. So it's always the number, gender, definiteness. But we're not there yet. But we're now we need to focus our attention that there are 2 genders, masculine and feminine. So now if you look on the form, on the exercise sheet, under noun, it says in Hebrew has only 2 genders. So you see the chart. On the top going across, you've got the masculine form. On the bottom going across, you have the feminine form. Everybody with me? Okay, so the word for horse is sus, like the doctor. Sus. So the feminine form for a mare is Susa. So your kamatz hey is the signal that this is a feminine noun. Everybody good? Now the kamatz hey is like the compound vowel, right? Kamatz hey, hirik yod, that kind of thing we talked about. So it's used by the Masoretes to determine our gender of a given word. So sus is horse, susa is a mare. Everybody with me? Now if you go to the next column, plural. The im ending, hirik yod mem, is the masculine plural ending. It's like our s or es. But the holam vav taf on susot is the feminine plural ending. So susim, masculine plural. Susot is feminine plural. So we talk about the festival of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. The word sukkah, kametz hey, at the end, it's a feminine word. But a sukkah is an it, but it's a feminine word. Everybody with me? Yep. So it has feminine gender, but if we were translating, we'd say, oh, we set up the tabernacle. What'd you set up? Oh, I set it up. You don't say, I set her up. Yeah. But literally, that's what you would see in Hebrew. But translating in English, you got to give us the neuter, because the thing it's talking about in English is a neuter term. Everybody good? So sus, susim, susa, susot. Now, Hebrew has a unique plural form that you don't see in many other, I'm not sure all other languages, but it has a dual form. So that when there is two of something, it has the ending ayim. Patach, yod, hirik, mem. Ayim. The ayim ending is a dual form. So if you have two horses, it's susayim. If you have two mares, it's susatayim. Okay? Now, here's the thing. We're not going to attempt to take an English phrase and put it into Hebrew. We're working from the Hebrew into English. So what you really have to do is to recognize the forms. You don't really have to memorize them. So susatayim is kind of, it's like susot, but you see the holam vav dropped out, and it's not susotayim, susatayim. You're not going to be asked, oh, here's the English, put it into Hebrew. What we want to be able to do is simply look at the Hebrew and go into the English. So you don't have to know how it all works. You just have to see that it does work. Okay? When you see that ayim ending, it's dual. So the word for heavens is shamayim, ayim. So literally when it says in the beginning God created the heavens, it's actually dual, the two heavens. So if we wanted to be very literal in our interpretation of that, we might suggest, can't prove this, but we might suggest what's being created is the atmospheric heavens and the heavens of space. But what isn't made reference to might be the heaven which is the dwelling place of God. If there are three heavens, which Paul says he was caught up to the third heaven. But Genesis talks about the Shemayim, not the heavens, but the two heavens. So words that have an ayim ending, they're duals. And so you've got singular, plural, dual. Masculine, plural, im, feminine plural, ot, masculine dual, and the duals are ayim. Now, there are some words that are irregular as such, like the word yad. Doesn't have three consonants. Normally, in Hebrew, you'll see that the root word is three. So a word like hand, yad, is yad, but it's a feminine word. You would know that. You just have to know it, right? There's no way to figure out yad is feminine because there's no ah ending. There's no indicator. So that's what makes it irregular. You just have to know that. And the more we look at it, the more we remember, oh, yad is feminine, therefore it's not yadim, but it's yadot. It's a feminine plural. But remember, we're not going to go from English to Hebrew, we're going from Hebrew to English. So you see yadot, you would conclude this is a feminine plural ending. Right? So you just have to recognize ot is always the feminine plural. Now the ayim ending, so it's yadayim. See that ayim ending, it's dual. Okay, so that's how the Hebrew nouns work.
So that's the same for susatim?
Susatayim. Tayim. It's always ayim for the dual.
So what does Egypt in Hebrew has the same ending?
Yeah, but I don't know the root for Egypt. I don't know the root, what...
Yes.
Yeah, so let's not just go there.
Okay.
You just know the word Mitzrayim, it means Egypt. Why does it have... it would have a dual ending as we would see it, I don't know. Maybe it refers to... maybe the etymology of the word had something to do with some dual aspect to the land. Don't know. The Sinai and the land attached to Egypt, to Africa. But the point is, we know what it means, and now you want to explore why Egypt is called Mitzrayim and what its cognate affiliates are. That's a whole other world. So, Sus, Susim, Susayim. Susa, Susot, Susatayim. Yad, Yadot, Yadayim. Everybody good? Okay. Now, some masculine nouns have feminine endings, and some feminine nouns have masculine endings. These are rare, but I'm just putting them on the table so that when that happens, you're saying, why is that way? Oh, that's right, there are some exceptions. So, for example, the masculine singular, and by the way, when you abbreviate, it's MSG. The masculine singular for father is Av, but the plural is not Avim, it's Avot. And the feminine singular for woman is Isha, but the feminine is not Ishot, it's Nashim, and we've already learned that. So now we're just saying that's an exception. It's just one of those things that doesn't work the way we see it. Now, there are two kinds of sentences, and we've already talked about them. We haven't really spelled it out, but we've already talked about them. There are the sentences that are nominal sentences. That means to say they're sentences that are without an explicit verb. And that's why when we were translating some things earlier, we said you have to add the verb to be. So when you have to add the verb to be, it's because there's no verb, expressed verb, in the sentence. So an example is, Hamelech al Hasus. Literally, it just says, the king upon the horse. There's no expressed verb. So you have to put it in there. The king is upon the horse. But there's no verb to be. Or we ask the question, Mi tzaddik, who righteous? You have to put in the verb to be. Who is righteous? Now, could it be who was righteous? Yes, depending on the context. But we're just looking at this one phrase. That's a nominal sentence. It's a sentence without an expressed verb. But then there are verbal sentences where there is a verb. Remember, we already saw this. In Hebrew, the verb precedes the subject. We talked about that. Halach literally means he went. Hamelech, the king. Bagan, in the garden. So because there is an expressed verb followed by the subject, we know the subject is the king went in the garden, or the king walked in the garden. Everybody good? Nominal sentences, there's no expressed verb, you have to supply it. Verbal sentences have the verb, the subject will follow the verb. And we've already done some translating, so we've done this. This is just being spelled out for the first time. Now look at the second page. On the second page, we've already introduced the conjunction. The vav before a word is a conjunction. It may appear in a variety of ways, but when you see the vav, if the vav is not, and generally, often it's not, is not part of the root word, it's the conjunction. So the conjunction in Hebrew is written with the vav. It usually appears with the shawah, the. But it can also appear in the way I'm showing you in the following context. It all depends on the word that it's attached to. So again, you're not going to be asked to go English to Hebrew. You're going to be asked to go Hebrew to English. So when you see the vav, even if you say, wait, I thought it should have a shawah, know that there are a variety of vowels that can be attached to the vav. Doesn't change its conjunction. Remember, vowels are added to the words. They're consonants. So they're added because they make it, we can verbalize it. And when we verbalize it, depending on other consonants or vowels that are attached to it, we have to change the vowel sound on the vav itself. So usually you're going to see it vi, but you could see it as va, like shur vachamur, because you got the patak under a guttural. It's not going to be vichamur, it's vachamur, because it flows that way. When you look at, and there are rules to it, but I don't want to get bogged down in all that. I just want you to recognize what's going on. You could have it as V, the Vav with the Hirak Yod. So Yehuda starts with the letter Yod. So in this case, the Vav is attached to the Yod, so we give it a Hirak Yod as opposed to Yehuda. It's Vihuda. Sometimes, because the Shin has the Shawah under it already, we're not going to have Vishemuel. So we make it as the Shurik. Ushmuel. It's a little easier to pronounce. When you have letter D, you've got it also with that with the mem, umayim, and water. It's the vav that you're looking at, not the vowel that accompanies it. Remember, the vowel is to pronounce. It doesn't give us a specific meaning as such. It helps us to pronounce it because of whatever word the vav is attached to. So, umayim, you got the vav, that's and water. Then you have lechem vamayim. See, now because of the vav with the lechem attached, and it changes some of the accents, now we've got the kamats. So vamayim. But you see the vav, you're looking at the consonants, you know it's bread and water. Now, the conjunction can sometimes be translated not only as and, it can be translated as but, for a contrast. It can be translated as now, depending on the context. So we're going to get to some sentences to see how this works. But before we do that, let's look at the vocabulary, okay, at the bottom. So let's read the nouns together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Zahav, which means gold. Hold on, which is the translation for gold. Right? Zahav. Then our second word is Yisrael. Yisrael. You got the Yod? Yisrael. Israel. Then we've got the word Kesef. Remember, the pay without the dot is like phone. Kesef. So Kesef is silver. Can be translated as just money. Then we have the word Na'ar. Na'ar is a youth or a lad. Sometimes can mean a servant. Depends on the context. Na'ar. Then we have the word Eved. Eved. The ayin, vav. Eved. Eved means servant or slave. And then we have the word avodah. Avodah is work. So let's say these words together. Remember? Ready? Zahav. Avodah, okay? Now look at the other forms. We have the conjunction, vi. Then we have the word zakein, which means an elder, an old man, old, decrepit, dying, old man, elder. Then we have the word al, Means to on or upon, over, against, by. It has a variety of expressions depending on the context. So let's say these words. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, with that, you can keep these 2 pages open in front of you. Some of your vocabulary you need to already know. And I'm going to pass out a number of sentences that we're going to work on together. Okay? Oh, and Paul. I think that's 6, and we can get to Hi and Carlton. Let me give you one more just in case. Okay? Okay, everybody got their sentences? It's upside down. No, it's upside. There you go. Okay? All right, here we go. Sergio, why don't you read the first sentence for us? Well, hold on. Do it slow, loud, so everyone can hear.
Mi po hayom hanashim po.
Okay, but the second word is not po.
The second word?
Correct. It's not po.
It's po.
It's fo.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So let's read it together. Mi fo hayom hanashim po. Okay? Me, what does it mean? So this sentence is what kind of a sentence?
Question.
Yes, and what do we call that? It's an interrogative sentence, okay? So we have a question. Me, second word, fo. What does fo mean, Rodney? Marlena? Wendy?
There.
Violetta? Doyce? Here. Okay? So now if you didn't know those words, you know what you should be working on. You should put a check at it. You should make sure you write it on a 3x5 card. I'll tell you in a moment. And you ought to be practicing it. Fo is the word for here. It's po, but sometimes dots are going to drop out. Remember, it's still a pay. Doesn't change the meaning. It's pronunciation. Okay. So, me, fo. What does it mean? Now, what kind of a interrogative sentence is that? What kind of an interrogative sentence is that? No? There's only 2 kinds of sentences. Look on the sheet I gave you. No? That's genders. No? That's article. Nominal and verbal. So me, fo. What kind of a sentence is it? It's nominal. It does not have a verb. So you have to put in a verb. So how do you translate me, fo? Who is here? There's no is. That's what makes it nominal. Who is here? Hayom. Who is here? Today. Okay? Hayom literally means the day, but as we saw previously, it can also mean today. If you did not know that, put a check by it. Make sure it becomes a 3x5 card. Mi, fo, hayom. Who is here today? Here's the answer. Ha, nashim. What is the ha before a word? The. What is the? Definite article. What's nashim? Women. Remember, that's one of our exceptions, right? The isha, we would expect maybe ishot, but it's not. It's nashim. So, where? Well, now we know it's hanashim, right? So now are, I mean. So where? Who is here? Today. Who is here today? The women. Po. Po. Here. Here. It's the same as the second word. Mi, fo. Who is here? Hayom, today. Who is here today? Hold on. Hanashim, po. The women are here.
So
Okay?
So if it says po is going to be with or here, no matter what.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it's the pay hey. Ayin.
Two questions. One, it's really two sentences.
Yes, okay, fair enough. But both sentences are nominal,
Okay.
right? There's no express
So
verb.
you would find this in Hebrew, you have two sentences but put together like it's one sentence. So you got to know who.
You have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
Right, I was going step by step, and so I wasn't.
Did you ask the question and answer it the same
Yeah, who's for the Lord, whatever.
It could be that.
Who's here today, the women are here.
Right.
The second question.
Okay.
Is there a rule for when you have the gesh and when is it po and when is it po?
I'm sure there is. It has to do with the accents, the related words around it. I just don't want us to get bogged down with that. Then it becomes very oppressive, you know? Okay, second sentence. Rodney, can you read? Marlena? Wendy, second sentence.
Hamelech al ha'arim.
Okay? Hamelech al He'arim. Okay? Hamelech. What does it mean? The king. Dois. What is al? On, upon, by, against, but we'll choose on, or upon, or over. Okay? Hamelech al, the king, over. What kind of sentence is this? Nominal. There's no express verb. We have to put it in. The king is upon or over. He'arim. Linda, what is he before the word? He. The. Definite article doesn't have the patach, and it doesn't have the doubling on the ayin of irim. Why doesn't it have a doubling on the ayin? Ayin. Why isn't the ayin doubled?
Why is the iron?
No dot. Normally we would expect ha, hey, patach, doubling dot. Why isn't the ayin doubled?
Well, it's like I'm not sure.
Andrea, what's that?
That would be an so it's awkward.
Right. Why is it awkward? That's what I'm asking.
Because it's too it would have
Yeah, but why? What's wrong?
silent.
It's a guttural. So there are certain letters that are not doubled. You got the aleph, the ayin, the chet. They're not going to be doubled. So instead of doubling, we change the vowel that precedes it because of the kamatz under the ayin and probably some kind of accent. It's taken a segol. Remember, I put on here ha, he, ha with the kamatz. There could be all different kinds of things. You have to look for the symbols. Remember, it's like a puzzle. So he is the definite article. What is the im ending? Im ending. Masculine plural ending. Okay? What is the root word of he'arim? What's the root word? No, that's the meaning. Ear is the root word. How do you spell ear? How would you spell it? Ear. What's the vowel we need for ear? It's an ayin resh. We know that. What's the vowel? It is a yod, but it's not just a yod. It's e. Ear. What's the e sound? No? Hirik yod. So if you were to look this word up, you have to go into the lexicon ayin yod resh. You need to know it's ear, not r. It's ear. Ayin yod resh. Now this is a masculine plural with a definite article. How do we translate it? How do we translate it? The cities. So what does Hamelech al He'arim mean? It's a nominal sentence. So what do you have to supply? The king is over the cities. Okay? King is over the cities. Third, ayin.
Natan hamelech zahar ve'kesef la'aveh.
la'aved. Now, what kind of a sentence is this?
Well, that's not nominal,
No, it's not nominal. It's a verbal sentence because we have an expressed verb. What's the expressed verb? Natan. What does it mean? No, I didn't ask you how to translate it. What does it mean? To give. And how do you parse it?
masculine, singular, singular, past.
Third person, masculine, singular. Okay? Third person. By the way, when you abbreviate it, if we were writing out the parsing like we have Natan, if you were asked to parse it, you would say third person, masculine, singular. That's sort of what you're looking at. Okay? Third person. Now, if we were to translate that, how do we translate it? He gave. Okay? Now, Natan, ayin red, Hamelech. What's the subject of the sentence? Hamelech follows the verb. So how do we translate Natan Hamelech? The king gave. Okay? Zahav. What is Zahav? Gold. The king gave gold. Vi kesev. What's the vi before the word? And. The conjunction. And kesev. What's kesev? Silver. The king gave gold and silver. La aved. What is the lamed before a word? Inseparable preposition. How do we translate it? Or for. Two or four. What is the kamatz under the lamed? That's correct. It is the definite article. We don't have the hey because it got absorbed into the lamed. So you don't have a patach. You've got a raised vowel to the kamatz. You don't have the doubling dot in the ayin. Ayin. Why don't we have the doubling dot in the ayin?
Because you have a guttural and you don't have two gutturals.
It's a guttural. So that's why the patach under the lamed became a kamatz. So what is la before the word? How do you translate la? What was that, Doyce? No, how do you translate it? La. That's li. This is la. No, that's li. This is la. It is the. So how do you translate la? No? To the. So the king gave gold and silver, la, to the, what's an eved? In this case, it's aved because of the change. The servant. So how do we translate Natan, Hamelech, Zahav, V'kesev, Aved? Yes, you could. We need more context. But how are we going to translate it? Tell me. Exactly. The king gave gold and silver to or for the servant. Everybody see that? Okay. 4. Andrea, can you read 4 for us? Here we go. Hanar. Not be. Basadeh. Veha. Vehazaken. Not be'ir. Ba'ir. Okay, let's start. Let's go back. Kind of sentence. What kind of a sentence is this? No, there's no verb. This is nominal. So we have to add a verb to be. Okay? Ha-na'ar. What is a na'ar? A youth. Or a lad or a servant. What's the ha? The. There it is, clear. Hey, patach, doubling dot. The servant. What is bi before word? Bi before word. In, with, or by. You need to make sure you say all three so that you know all the options. In, with, by. What is the patach under the bet? Yes, but what is it? Takes the place of the definite article. So, the servant in the, what's a sadeh? Field is correct. Sadeh is a field. So how do we translate Hana'ar Basadeh? No. No. What kind of a sentence is this? Nominal. So it's a nominal sentence. What do we need to add? The verb to be. So how do we translate it? The youth, yes? In what? The field. The youth is in the field. Vi hazaken. What's vi before the word? And. That's our conjunction. Or it could be but. Or it could be now. We got three options. What is the ha before the word? Definite article. The. What is a zaken? Elder. So how do we translate Hana'ar basadeh v'hazaken? We need, whoa, hold on. What kind of a sentence is this? Nominal. So what do we need to add? The verb to be. So how do we translate Hana'ar basadeh v'hazaken? Okay, no, the vi is in, but, or now. It's not with. So, Hana'ar basadeh v'hazaken. How we translate it? Okay, hold. Let's not go to the last thing yet. But we got so far, that's an option. It's an option. Ba'ir. What is the bib before word? No. In, with, or by. Guys, check off bi, put it on a vocabulary card, and practice it. Bi before a word is an inseparable preposition, in, with, or by. What is the underneath the bait? The definite article, the, in the. What is an ear? There's the word for ear. Remember we had arim? Here's the word ear. What does it mean? So, how do we translate, or how might we translate? Hana'ar basadeh v'hazaken ba'ir. Well, I'm not hearing everything. How do we translate it? Okay, the youth is in the field, and the elder, or but the elder, or now the elder is in the city. Okay? Deep breath. Next. Am I like a taskmaster on this? Yeah. Hi, you're up. No? No? All right, we're back. Paul? We're back to Sergio. Number 5. That's a dalet. Good. Ha'eved. Ha'eved.
Al Hadarech.
Yes.
V'haderech.
Yes.
Ba'ir.
Okay. Ha'eved al hadarech v'haderech ba'ir. What kind of a sentence is this? Nominal. There's no verb, so what do we need to do? Add it. What is an eved? Servant. What is the ha before eved? So how do we translate ha-eved? The servant. Al. What is al? On. Upon. What is darech? Road or way. What is the ha with the doubling dot and the dollar before it? The. So what is ha-eved al hadarech? The servant is on the road. Vi haderech. What's the vi before word? Conjunction and. What's the ha before the word? The. What is derech? So how do you translate ha-eved al hadarech vi haderech?
The service is on the road.
And the way. Okay, hold. Ba'ir. What is bib before word?
In the city.
In, with, or by. What's the under it? Definite article. And ear, what does ear mean? So what does ba'ir mean? In the city. So how do we translate ha'eved al hadarech vehaderech ba'ir? In the city. Okay? So the servant is on the road and the road is in the city.
Singular, right?
Everybody good?
Is that Hadara?
Hadarech, yeah. And
As opposed to Derek?
yes, because again, it all has to do with accents, related words, added things, you know. But you see the consonants. Daled Resh, final kaf is the word for road or way.
Since it's a comma there should be a comma there. That's why you have.
Could be.
At the end of the sentence, the Derek becomes the Darek. The end of the sentence or a comma.
Okay.
Like Haderek.
Okay.
Derek. Hadarek.
Okay. Very good. Rodney, you got it. We're here to work with you. So if you'll never get it if we don't try. That's
El,
eh.
la.
That's a holum.
Okay. Elo,
Hirik Yod Mem. Elohim. Okay. Marlena, give us our next one.
Well, I just did that one with you.
Yeah, well, that's good. No, but that doesn't count. Now you got to do this one for you. So Elohim.
Okay.
That's a tzadi.
Sarah. No,
Tzadi.
Sari.
No, the letter is a tzadi
Sari. Okay, so that's
with a patach.
brain dead. Just a second.
How do we make it? What's the patach?
Sari.
What is the patach? Everyone tell us. Ah.
So that's an ah there.
So how do you pronounce the first syllable?
So.
Tza.
So.
Okay, second syllable.
That's do, D.
And the final sound. You got to give us D. There's a sound to that last consonant.
That's a cough, right?
Yes.
Cough.
Ka. No, it's ka.
Cough. Ooh, I got it wrong then. Okay. All right, so what did I say?
Tza.
Sadi. No.
You got to give us the last k.
Yeah, Sadira.
No, last k.
Sadiq.
Tzaddik. Okay? Tzaddik. Elohim. Tzaddik. Wendy, why don't you finish it up for us?
Adam
Yes?
Ra.
Okay? Elohim. Tzaddik. V'ha'adam Ra. What kind of a sentence is this? Nominal. So we have to add the verb to be. Elohim, what does it mean? Okay, God, tzaddik. Righteous. So Elohim, tzaddik, God is righteous. Vid before word? Or, but, or. So you need to know the options, right? And, but, or now. If you don't have it, that's a newer vocabulary word. But get on a 3x5 card and just keep working it. So God is righteous, the, and, but, or now. Ha before word? The. Adam? Man. So Elohim, Tzaddik, ve ha'adam.
Is
Elohim, how do we translate it?
God.
Yes.
Is righteous.
Yes. Ve ha'adam.
And man is
Okay, hold. Ra, what's the word Ra? Evil. So how are we going to translate Elohim, Tzaddik, ve ha'adam, Ra? But man is evil. Yeah, even though,
Man meaning mankind.
correct. It's just like Hayom, today, Ha'adam, mankind. Good? Dois. Oh, Violetta, are you ready to just be helped? Okay, so let's do the first one. Next to the last sentence, first word. Okay, Seriyod. How do we pronounce Seriyod?
a
A. So the aleph is silent. So the first part of this word is pronounced A. Okay? A. And the second part is the fe without the dot. The. And then you got the holum. The holum sounds like O. So how do we pronounce this word? A. Apho. The pay without the dots, like PH, like in phone. Apho. What does the word apho mean? Where. So here's another interrogative. We've got a question. Where? Dois, read for us.
Where,
No. Read for the Hebrew for us.
Epo,
Apho.
Epo,
Violetta gave that to us. Go ahead.
Hadar,
Hadah. 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 Resh with the segol. What does the segol sound like? Eh. So Hadah. How do you pronounce the resh with the segol? No. No. Hold on. Shh. Resh. Just look at the one thing I'm telling you. Resh with the segol. How do you pronounce that? Re. But we also have the kaf at the end with the shua. So you got to give me the resh, segol with the kaf. How do you pronounce that part of this word? Haderech. Okay? Here it's hadarech. Hadarech. Apho hadarech. And to Sergio's point, if a comma is put there, because that's the question, that raises the to a kamatz. So what does apho hadarech mean? Where is the road? Okay? Apho where? What's the hey with the patach and the doubling dot? Hey with the patach and the doubling dot. What's that? The. That's a definite article. And darech is the word for road or way. So where is the road? Dois. Go ahead, read for us.
and then Haderech,
Haderech.
El,
No.
Al,
Al. Haderech. Al. No. It's a segol. How do you pronounce a segol? What does it sound like? Eh. So how do you pronounce hey with the eh?
Hey,
He. He. Ha.
He, Ha,
He.
He,
Ha. Reem.
Rim,
He harim.
He, Harim,
Okay? Apho hadarech. Haderech al he harim. We said apho hadarech means what, Dois?
where's the road?
Where is the road? Haderech. What's ha before word? The. Derech. Road. The road. Al. What is al? Upon. What is he before word? The. What is im at the end of a word? Im at the end of the word? Masculine plural. What is the root then of heharim? Har. What does har mean? Mountain. But this is harim. Mountains. This is heharim. The mountains. So how do you translate apho hadarech? Haderech al heharim.
Where's the road upon the mountain?
Okay, where's the road?
The road is on the way.
No?
Where's the road? The road is on the mountain.
The mountains. Mountains, plural. Everybody got it?
Could you say, where's the road on the way to the mountain? No.
No. Because, right. No. Right. You still have to go with what you have. The road is upon the mountains. Even if you take out the first phrase.
Doris and Derek, the same.
Yeah. Road or way. Okay? Last sentence. Linda. Okay? No That's people. Ba. Ba. Cha. Ne. Bamachane. Yeah, but I want you to pronounce it. Yes. No, not be. Ba. Bamachane. Okay, hold on. Hagiborim. I guess that's right. Hagiborim bamachane. What's the hey before word? What's the eem at the end? Masculine plural. What is the word itself? What's the root word? Gibor. And what does it mean? Okay, so what is Hagiborim? The mighty men. Okay, it's masculine. The mighty men. What's bib before word? In, with, or by. What is the patach with the dot in the mem? The. So in the, what is a machaneh? Camp. So what does Hagiborim b'machaneh mean? The mighty men are in the camp. What kind of a sentence is this? Nominal. Which means we have to supply the verb to be. The mighty men are in the camp. Ayin, why don't you read the next words for us? Okay, V'hamachaneh beYisrael. V before word? Conjunction and, but, now. Ha before word? The. Machaneh. Okay, so how do we translate V'hamachaneh? And the camp? Bib before word? In, with, or by? Yisrael. And this is a nominal, so we have to add the verb to be. What does V'hamachaneh beYisrael mean?
And the camp is in Israel.
Is in Israel. So how do we translate Hagiborim b'machaneh V'hamachaneh beYisrael?
The mighty men are in the camp, and the camp is in Israel.
There you go. Good job, you guys. Deep breath. Get something to drink. You guys did great. So that's nouns. We keep building. What you want to do is go back to your first exercises. Without all the writing on it, you want to read those vocabulary words. You want to translate what you can. You want to describe what you're seeing, even if you write it down. B'machaneh, inseparable preposition, in, with, or by, machaneh, camp, in the camp. So that you're reinforcing all the things that we've gone over, okay? Now, I'm going to give you one other handout today. By the way, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to send you some more. I'm going to send you an exercise that will have. Another preposition, min, which means from, and when it gets attached to a word, what happens to it. Then some new vocabulary and more sentences. Work on the sentences. Next Saturday, we're going to go over them together so that you're not just doing it blind here. I want you to work on it before you get here, and then we'll go over it together. And very shortly, we're going to start going into verbs. And that's where it gets very exciting, because then you got more vocabulary, but now you've got verbal sentences, and we can go crazy now. You know, because we can do a lot of, you're not just doing the verb to be. This is that, this is that. Now we can say, this was, he gave this, he walked here, he said that, and it starts getting a little more fun, and more variety. So now, this is for you to practice reading. And also, it's vocabulary. You don't need to memorize this stuff. But some of it, you're going to see. The things you want to memorize is what I give you on the exercises. These are for reading and to expand your vocabulary. You're going to see some in both places, but not all. These verbs just want you to look at list number 1. They're verbs that occur 500 to 5,000 times in the Hebrew Scriptures. So if you're going to memorize verbs, you want to know those because they're occurring so frequently. And the more you see them, the more they'll go. But you already know some of them. For example, halach, to walk or to go. I mentioned in a message on Psalm 133, yatzah. I just wonder if any of you remember. Yatzah. My message was on Psalm 133, how good and pleasant it is for the brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the oil that did what? That ran down. So yatzah means to go down. There's some other ones. Natan. This happens over 500. Natan, to give. And you'll see some other ones. Now remember, verbs are easy. They're all ah. Okay, there's some exceptions, but for the most part, it's the third masculine singular verb. Haven't told you what kind of verb yet. We're getting there. But it's third person masculine singular, ah. Natan, yatsa, amar, davar, ha-ya. It's all going to be ah. So the only thing you really need to work in here, except for some exceptions, like moot. By the way, moot is a very common word in all languages. So like the book morte, right? Death. So in Hebrew, moot is the same word for death. It won't be mata, it's moot. Okay, it's one of the exceptions. But when you do these verbs, you're basically practicing the consonants because the verbs are the same. Ah, right? So let me hand these out to you. Oh, one more for Paul.
Moot is the Hebrew word for dead.
Death, to die.
You don't want to be rendered moot.
Right, you know, unless you're drinking vermouth, right? Okay, so take a look at the verbs. I'm going to read them for you. And these 26 verbs occur 500 to 5,000 times. Here we go. Okay, everybody watching? Just follow along as I show you right at the top. Okay, watch. Achal, amar, here's our exception. Bo, that means to come or go. Davar, haya, halach, yada, yalad. Now, interesting, yalad, what's the noun you know with the same consonants? Yeled. So yeled is a person, right? It's a child. So to speak about being born, it's you yalad. He was born. He was birthed. He birthed. He bring forth. Yatzah, yashav, lakach, moot. There's an exception. Nasa, natan, avar, Allah, amad, asa, tzava, kum. Okay, there's an exception. Kara, ra'ah, sim, shuv, shuvah, Yisrael, the remnant of Israel, the returning ones of Israel. Notice, shuvat, shuvat, it's in the construct, the returning ones of Israel, the repenting ones of Israel. Shalach, shama, to hear, shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. You can keep going. Look at 27. Ahav, Asaph, Bana, Bakash, Barach, Sakar, Hazak, Chata, Haya. It's all So you don't have to, when you're doing verbs, the root verb, the most basic form of the root, which is third person, masculine, singular, it's all, more often than not, So what you're really practicing with this are your consonants. So if you know your consonants, you should be able to read these with no problem whatsoever. If you can't, go over your consonants and keep practicing them because that's where the problem would be here. Different than nouns. Nouns could be all over the place as you're learning. But verbs, It's all with the exception of some, and you'll have holums or shuriks or kibutzes, etc. Okay, any questions? Any? Ayin.
Shuv turned into Shuvah. That's Yeshav. Is it Yeshav is
He returned, I think it is. Or Yashav is he sat.
Yeshav?
It's there.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's Yod, Shin, Vav, whereas Shuv is Shin, Vav, Pei, Beit, without the dot.
The Hebrew word to say, when we get Yeshua, would be related to,
No, that's Yod. That's Yod, Shin, Ayin, Yasha. So we got Shuv, Yashav, and Yasha. They're different.
You know, Kum, when I was watching that just stuck with me, or one of the Jesus movies,
Uh-huh.
and he spoke in Aramaic.
Oh, yeah, Kuma, or something like that.
Yeah, he said Kum.
Aramaic,
Lazarus. Kum, yeah,
Aramaic,
right.
and Hebrew are very similar. They have the same alphabet, vowels, just different grammatical structures. I have a Aramaic grammar at home that I started getting into at one time, but I've not really followed through with it. But don't go there. Let's stay in Hebrew. Stay in Hebrew.
It just jumped out at me.
Don't let things jump out at you. You know, don't. You know, that's why you got to take some karate. Something jumps out, you're ready.
It's Hebrew, by the way. Not
Kum is Hebrew, but Kuma or something like that is Aramaic. Yeah. And you know, in Aramaic, if I'm not mistaken, the definite article is at the end of the word instead of at the beginning. I think there's some things like that.
The Shema here, to hear or to hear to, I thought it had an S sound. Does it have
Shama,
sometimes?
Shama.
When they say
When we sing it, we're singing Shema, and that's a different form of the verb. This is we haven't learned the types of verbs yet, but Shema is an imperative. Hear, listen up. Shema in this form of the verb, which is like I forget what it's called a kal form, which means small. It's like the most basic rudimentary form of a verb. It just means listen, you know. But Shema means listen up. You know, that's a command. That's an imperative. It's a little different. All right, let me pray for you guys. We're doing great. Keep rolling, rawhide, and keep moving forward. Practice, practice, practice. A little, a lot. Do not cram. You cram, you will not get it into the brain. So you have to just figure out, morning, before you get up, have your Hebrew stuff there. You know, have your glasses, your Hebrew stuff, and the moment you wake up, you just, you wipe the cobwebs, you do this kind of a thing, you reach over, put your glasses on, and you go, Yashav. You just duke it out for 5 minutes, stay under the covers, do the thing, go through it, and take it off, put it down, go in, do what you got to do, get dressed. You're having breakfast now. At breakfast, you go back in, you take it, Yashav. Ta-ta, and you just a little bit, a lot. Don't cram, or else you will not get it, because your brain is not designed to get it otherwise. You're telling your brain, when you cram, you don't want me to remember it, you just want it for a short moment. You want to start telling your brain, I want this for the long haul. That takes a little bit over a longer period of time. Everybody good? Okay, hang in there, keep working, and rejoice and celebrate, what you're accomplishing and what you're able to do, right? Some of us keep accomplishing this much, some of this much. Celebrate whatever accomplishments you make because God's bringing you there. And some of us he brings, it's like, I think of when the Red Sea parted. Some people went across saying, holy crow, wow, look at this, look at the water, man. Others are going like, I hope it doesn't come down too fast, It's like, but everybody makes it across. You know, we make it across differently, but we make it across. So celebrate what you make, you know, because we're all making something. We're all getting there. A little bit, a lot. All right, Father, we thank you for this day. It's such a joy to be together, first of all. It's certainly a joy to be together with you. And we thank you, Lord, for this language. And while it's not simple, it's not hard either. And we thank you, Lord, that we can learn it, we can enjoy it, we can celebrate over it, we can puzzle through it, and we can rejoice in what we have accomplished. Lord, we really want to read your word in the original language, be able to translate some of it, and to get better and better at this. So help us to do the best we can. We pray in Messiah's name. Amen. The only danger in this is all of us are going to have enough knowledge to become dangerous, you know? And now we're going to start making all kinds of deductions, you know? Got to be careful on that score. But let's just read and translate, and then we'll figure out how do we interpret it, you know? Good job, guys.